Welcome, everyone. I'm going to make two speeches tonight. One for the media, and in making this speech, I'm not going to make the thank yous because obviously most people are still out there on booths, and there's a lot of people to thank, and I want to thank them when they're here. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that we are not perhaps the main game here tonight. I think our friends in the media are pretty keen to get across the river, and so I'm keen to give them something before they go. Let me just give you the facts and then I'll get into the speech. At this point, we've got the results from a number of booths in. There is a consistent swing to us here in Corio. Some of those swings are as high as 6%. We obviously won't get the full figure until later. I'd be surprised if that becomes a uniform swing across the booths, but in every booth we're seeing a swing to us in Corio, which means I think we can be confident that we have held Corio in this election, and I want to thank everyone for being a part of that. This is a very difficult speech to make tonight. Some of you in the room may know why, and the reason I wanted to have a quick word with the media was because of this. This morning, our campaign team, our party in Geelong, our family, our broader family, had a tragedy. Brady Cook, who people will know here, was killed in a car accident this morning at Leopold. Brady is a member of the Labor Party. Brady's mother is Lou Brazier, who people will know very well. This is a tragic day, and it makes it difficult to have a night of celebration. I think for all of us who are involved in politics, when it comes to elections, it's pretty hard to think about anything other than the election. When I heard about this news at 9:20, my head was full of a whole lot of things, but it immediately emptied and thought of Brady and of Lou. Brady had a troubled life, as I think people know. He was a foster child of Lou Brazier. I'm not exactly sure when Brady started living with Lou, but it feels to me like about 5 to 10 years ago. In any event, we have watched Brady grow with Lou, become a part of her family. I understand, I hope I'm right in saying this, that Lou formally adopted Brady in his late teens, and Brady was somebody who benefited, who was a member of the party, who grew with us in the party, and who benefited a lot from what Labor does. He was doing apprenticeship training. To watch the way in which Lou worked with Brady has been inspiring for all of us, and I can only imagine what this day means to her. Typically of Lou, she rang me, or rather texted me during the day and said that the thing that she wanted to happen today was to see us win this election. But we have a lot of stuff to work through as a group of people and as a little community here, and we have got a lot of love that we need to extend to Lou Brazier in particular, and in remembrance of Brady Cook. Having said that, let me talk about the election at hand. This is a really important election. It's a really important election in terms of the Labor Party having led in government this country through the global economic crisis in circumstances where we have not gone into recession. 200,000 jobs around the country have been saved as a result of that, and we as a city know recession well. Everyone in this room knows people who lost their jobs in the early 90s. Everyone in this room knows people who never got another job afterwards. There are third generation unemployed here in Geelong, and that sequence of unemployment began in a recession, and so to have been a part of a government which saw recession avoided in our town is a source of immense pride to me. And whatever else I've done in the course of the last 3 years, the most important thing I assure you that I did for the Geelong community was to put my hand up in support of the government stimulus packages which kept Geelong working through the global economic crisis. And now it is absolutely the job of this government, I hope if we are re-elected, to get the budget back in the black. And that has led to a campaign which has not been a spend-a-thon. And there has been some issues raised about the extent to which promises may or may not have been given in Geelong. Why didn't we support the Geelong Football Club? Why didn't we support the library? Of course, I would say in relation to each of those that the fact that Labor did not make a commitment during this election campaign, in the event that we are elected, I don't think that means that any of those projects won't happen. But what I do think it means is that we were very keen to make sure that the emphasis of what this election ought to be about is getting the budget back into the black. But we are also speaking to a much more, I think, optimistic Australia, one which sees us have high-tech manufacturing, high-value industry paying high-wage jobs. And to do that, we absolutely have to climb the technological ladder, and that has seen in the last few years an investment by this government in a way in which we have not seen for years in both education, in science, which is seeing us climb that technological ladder, and in dealing with the great issue of climate change. And I don't think there is a better example of the contrast between the two parties than the issue of broadband, where we are putting out there a policy which is actually about trying to take this country into the future, whereas on the other hand we've got Tony Abbott who barely understands what broadband is about. But the thing I most want to say, and I'm going to end this first speech at this point, is to really thank the people of Geelong. To thank the constituents of Corio and to thank the people of Geelong. I want to first make mention of the communities of Lara and Anarchy who have now voted for and I hope supported me in 2 elections. I mention them specifically because given the redistribution it may well be that they don't have the opportunity to vote in a Corio election again. But I want to say that representing the people of Geelong, being the member for Corio, has been the great privilege of my working life, and to have been have been charged with the responsibility of representing this community for another 3 years in our national parliament is the great honour of my working life. I know that in terms of the Labor Party here and the Geelong community in general, they have given to me in a way which I will never be able to give back in return. I am indebted to the party and I am indebted to the community. And while knowing that I will never be able to repay that debt, I absolutely give you my undertaking here that I will spend the next 3 years giving every fibre of my being to trying to do that. And finally, I'm going to make one thank you. There will be thank yous that I'll make a bit later in the evening, but one thank you that I do want to make right now is, of course, to my wonderful wife, Rachel, who is absolutely the love of my life. I thank her for allowing me to do this job. You make my life worth living. I love our life together, and I very much thank you for the support that you've given me. I couldn't be here without her. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy. I'll be coming back and giving another speech a bit later to the party faithful to give my thank yous at that point. But can I thank the friends from the media for being here?